Welcome.
Aloha, my
Welcome
friends.
to the UnAlteredE experience. It's an amazing day. I love my wife. I like my wife. It's so cool. When these cameras are on, everything's good.
We are so excited to have our special guest here with us.
Before we even start, we're not making any claims at all.
Mm-hmm.
We're not making claims for what anything can work for anyone on earth. What we're doing is we're bringing our wonderful guest Lori's experiences to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if something works for her, it could work for someone else on this earth. And if that happens, then that's amazing. Mm-hmm. Because these oils have helped me. These oils have helped her. They've helped our family. And Lori's going to talk to us about how they have helped her. So welcome, Lori. How are you today?
I am doing wonderful. It's a beautiful day in Santa Cruz, and I'm just excited to start the morning with you.
Nice.
Yay.
Santa Cruz. I miss Santa Cruz. You know, I miss going to the beach, just like checking out the waves, and yeah, I kind of miss Santa Cruz a little bit.
Yeah. We have lots of sharks, just to say. Yeah. We have a little shark cam that we can look and actually see them. Oh yeah. We can have anywhere from 10 to 20 sharks a day in our little bay. Really close.
So where are they hanging out now? I remember last time there was a ton by the cement ship.
That's where it is. That's where I live, right by the cement ship.
Oh, okay.
So come and hang out, and there's several people who will go out in their boat and videotape them and put them on our local Facebook, our community Facebook, so we can just see them. So needless to say, not a lot of swimming and surfing in our little town, but the surf spots, they're still big and they're popular and people are out there, but the sharks like to hang out at our beach.
Yeah, that's crazy. I remember a couple of our friends' kids were surfing, and they had done an overhead helicopter shot, and they were surfing real close to where there was a bunch of sharks, and it was like, I mean, I'm sure it's just totally unnerving, but they said, I heard a statistic once that said 80% of the people in the water at any time have a shark within 20 feet of them, or a shark comes within 20 feet of them during their time in the water.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
We're just grateful that they're not hungry at that moment, right?
Yeah. They have lots of food. So, I don't think they're really looking to eat humans. They have other good stuff to eat.
Well, that's encouraging.
Sure. All right, so let's take it all the way back.
Yeah.
Let's talk about where you were born and where you were raised.
Sure. Well, I've always been a California beach girl. I was raised in Southern California by Huntington Beach, and so have always been just loving the water, always need to be in the water. Didn't run into too many sharks as a kid, but I did get rescued at one point. I remember because I was swimming so far out beyond the breakers that a lifeguard boat came up and picked me up because they saw a big shark out there. Yeah, and brought me in. But it was, I loved growing up on the beach, running on the beach, really active as a kid. My uncle was a lifeguard, so we stayed at his lifeguard stand most of the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when we were out there. And when I look back at my mom always made everything from scratch. So we were a from scratch type of family. We grew a lot of our own vegetables. And even in high school, I raised cattle and pigs and sheep, and we ate them too, and bunnies. So raised rabbits. And so we were always in this, really sustainable family, from the point of wanting to raise our own meat, grow our own vegetables. And then my mom loved baking, and we baked all the time, and it was always from scratch. So I didn't grow up in the processed food world, except for maybe a couple times having the quick hamburger helper dinner.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so that was just...
That's
that's awesome.
By the way, Future
Right?
Farmers
That's
of
totally
America.
awesome.
That's awesome.
I mean, the foundation that builds is super good. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was interesting, though, because I always remember my mom saying, we have our protein, we have our starch, and we have our vegetables. And she was very adamant that we finished, our food before leaving the table. But And then we always had dessert, and that, wasn't really the best thing, but we were so active as kids, we weren't overweight. So none of my brothers, I have two brothers, we didn't have a weight issue. And I was, like I was talking to you guys earlier, when I turned 16, I wanted to join the gym. So I wanted to be stronger so I could carry these 50-pound bags of pig feed and cattle feed and everything, be able to unload it from my car, or when the feed truck came, it was always the guys that were unloading it. But I had to still carry the bags and so I did. I joined the gym when I was 16 and really got into working out and being healthy. And I loved it. It was just that foundation that kept me going all the way through college. And I got my bachelor's in animal science. And after working for the veterinarians on campus at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, I decided I didn't want to be a vet. There were too many situations that I thought, no, this is not what I want. This is not how I see the rest of my life. But I went into small animal medicine. I still worked in veterinary hospitals for 20 years. But after high school, or after college, I got into bodybuilding, and I went to this little local bodybuilding competition in San Luis Obispo, and I saw these women up there, and I thought, I want a little butt like that.
Yes.
And I've been lifting weights. So I joined a Gold's Gym, and literally the owner of the gym just kind of took me underneath his wing and really helped me get ready for my first competition, which I did in a year and a half. And it was really doing that I learned how to eat for me. So the way I ate growing up was not going to work to get me ready for a bodybuilding competition. And I found out what foods my body liked and what foods my body didn't like. And it was just this research project. Since I had done so many research projects in college, this was a research project on me. And for 3 years, I actually wrote down everything I ate, calculated my carbs, my fat, my protein, my calories, just played with that fluctuation, see how my body responded, wrote down how I felt. And that was how I really got to know me and what my body really wanted. And it was great. I did 2 competitions and had a blast.
That is so okay. So bust that picture. We want to see it.
I actually sent them to you last night, so they're they're in your email.
Okay, nice. Okay. So there you go. Sorry, he will insert that, and I'll have to look at it later.
So let's back up real quick. Growing up, if someone broke a bone, got an injury of some sort, how was your health care at that point in time? How was your immediate needs for that?
So it was interesting. My mom she had all these aloe vera plants, and it seemed like anything that happened to us, she'd go rip off the aloe vera plants, leaves it open, and just slather us with it. So any cut, burn, like I didn't even know what Neosporin was growing up, because my mom never used it. It was always the aloe vera plant. And my uncle, who was a lifeguard, him and his wife were really naturalists. So they were always taking vitamins. They were grounding their own wheat and making their bread. And nice. So he was a mentor, or someone that I really looked up to, because they really focused on their health, even though I didn't understand all the stuff that they were doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
But cool. we went to the doctors whenever we needed, but no broken bones for me when I was younger. But I did suffer with really bad seasonal allergies. So to the point that I would have this vice grip headache. And they put me on all these medications and everything. And it just got to the point where I hated February and March, because those were the worst seasons of the year. Mm-hmm. But needless to say, I don't have them anymore.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. That's so awesome.
So as you're going through your bodybuilding career or history, when I'm sure supplementation was a big part, and then how did you get into more and more of the natural or holistic side?
Well, yeah. So my trainer had me taking all these supplements. We're talking a lot. And it started, and so I'm 29 at this point, and it really got my mind thinking, how do I know I need all of these supplements? How do I know what my body needs? And it was that curiosity that made me decide to go back to school and get a master's in chemistry with my emphasis in biochemistry and molecular biology. And when I graduated from San Jose State, I became a nutritional biochemist. So I had been still eating and keeping my, you know, the body that I got from bodybuilding, which was great. I had it all through my 30s and mid 40s. And I'd worked for several network marketing companies that had supplements and were health oriented. doTERRA was actually my 10th network marketing company. And so I knew it would work at some point in time, but had to find the right company, and it definitely did. But it was interesting that I was always looking for a natural way to address, health issues. And I definitely had some challenges I dealt with. Similar, if they decided I didn't have Raynaud's syndrome, but I would lose circulation in my fingers. They would turn totally white.
What?
And my feet would be really cold. And and when I had my adrenals tested, I was in adrenal failure.
Oh.
And so for me, I was really looking, how can I naturally rebuild my adrenals and, get them healthy again? And it's not, I can't say it's not really a shocker, because I was just so active and always doing stuff. And in my 40s, I started racing catamaran sailboats. So a 16-foot catamaran, Hobie cabs with my boyfriend. Yeah. And we did 2 world championships. And
wow.
And in south of Cancun in Riviera Maya, Mexico. So, and it's hard on your body doing racing a catamaran. And I got lots of bruises and everything, but I love that physical activity and being out on the water. So by the time I was invited to my first doTERRA class, which was 8 years ago, 2012. I have to do the math, however long that was. 7 years ago. I was suffering with a lot of pain, just inflammation from not only all the activities, but also I'm a horseback rider. So my first horse, got bucked off her many times and went flying. I can't even remember how many times I've landed on my tailbone. I'm sure I've broken it several times.
Oh my
gosh. I wonder, I mean, there's Chris Reeve and all that, but I wonder how many people get bucked and how many people get like serious injuries, because that's like a big fall.
Yeah, that is a big fall. Yeah.
Well, part of it is learning how to fall.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're going to be on a horse, learning how to fall is something, and obviously wearing a helmet is super important. And a helmet only protects you so much. I have a great story behind that. But it's, when your horse is bucking, you're going to go flying. And even the last 2 times that I've fallen off my horse, I knew I was coming off. So you kind of do this tuck and roll thing. Yeah. And most of the time, it's good, but there are times where my horse got spooked and all of a sudden she was gone. And I was like, like, she's like ran out from under me. I mean,
oh my gosh.
So is it, is it because your horses are higher strung? Are they more like fit, or like I've ridden horses before and they were just kind of chill, but I mean, if they get spooked, they get spooked. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're all different. I mean, my first 2 horses, they were little. They were only a little Arabian and a Morgan. And my Arabian was the one that was, she could get spooked really easy. And sometimes she just felt really good. And she was like, would just start bucking. My Morgan, he was a retired police horse from San Francisco. And he was chill. He was good.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great horse. And my current horse I have now, he's a Frisian from the Netherlands. So he's actually 16'3". So his back is above my head. And I'm
Wow.
5'4". So he's huge. And I sent you some pictures of him. And
Yes.
I showed him in dressage and we did some jumping, and he's 20 now. I've had him for 14 years, and
Oh.
he's my kid. He's my soul horse.
And really quick, 16.3, that's 16 hands.
Yeah, 16
Yeah,
hands. Yeah.
got it. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Um,
he's big for a Frisian. He's big.
so my question is, when you, before doTERRA and before, I mean, what did you used to do, like Bengay for like sore muscles and stuff like that, or icy hot or something?
Oh, when you were lifting?
Or any times if you'd fall, get bucked off your horse, what would you do? Like, is that the time Neosporin would come around, or were you still into aloe vera and stuff like that?
I pretty much was an ice and heat person,
Oh, nice,
and
nice.
I've tried, yeah, and I definitely have tried, the, yeah, different muscle rubs, or I started seeing a chiropractor, and he had these herbal patches that were really great. So I could, put one of those on. But I even worked for a company that had these, they're like electronically charged patches. So
Oh
you
yeah,
you put them on,
for
and again,
stem.
yeah. So yeah, I did lots of stem
Do you so
units
being
and stuff.
being in the horse around horses all the time? Did you ever hear people using DMSO?
Um, Not, I mean, we used it a lot in the veterinary hospital world. I personally hate the smell of it. So no, I wouldn't use it. And then we used it so much in, when animals were sick or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah. When my horse had surgery, yeah, they'd given him so much DMSO, and I remembered that smell. I went to
Oh,
see him at the hospital. I thought, oh my gosh, I do not miss that.
so that's
But yeah, but I tried yucca, and I was always looking for natural ways to deal with the inflammation.
nice.
Especially, I hurt my knee when I was teaching aerobics in my
Mm.
20s. Found out that I was teaching on a cement floor. So actually, all the aerobic instructors, we all got injured. And
Oh
when we
my
brought it to
gosh.
the owner, and yeah, it was mine was pretty bad, and some of the others. And then we came to work the next day, and the whole place was shut, and he was gone, and he just left town.
What?
Because he didn't want to
Yeah,
get sued?
he didn't want to get sued, and he was gone. So I
Jeez.
had this bad knee, and I was always looking for natural ways to reduce that inflammation, and
Mm-hmm.
not really, I didn't really want to get surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were things that would help for a little while, but then it would come back to where going upstairs were hard.
Oh
Riding my
yeah.
horse was always easy, but walking and stairs and everything was hard until lifelong vitality. So
Oh.
Yes. Okay, let's
So
segue
here we
in.
go.
Let's
We
go.
we got right into it. So
That's
what
right.
was your first introduction to any type of essential oil?
yeah, so I got invited by Wendy Wilson. Yeah,
Mm.
so I just love Wendy. We met at a horse clinic. She's a horse gal, and we
Mm-hmm.
just stayed in touch on Facebook after several years. And then I saw that she was having her essential oil class, and I contacted her and went to it. And I was really looking for, again, reducing that inflammation. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, and also for my boyfriend, who at that time, he was a electrician, but he built big buildings. So he built the 49ers stadium, and
Oh, nice.
eBay and Google. So he was a big construction type, and
Mm-hmm.
he was always like working like this, and so he would just totally bad ergonomics in that field, and he was eating pretty much a bottle of Advil every month.
Oh
And
my
Oh,
gosh.
I knew that was not good. So
Yeah.
it was, and he had some bad injuries of things falling on him, everything. And I could just see he's not going to last here.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
don't do something.
Yeah.
So that was really my main goal of going, was to find some natural solution that was going to work for him and replace Advil. And what I found was I could address those seasonal allergies that I was still having.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't as severe, but I would still have them. And I ended up, walking away with a natural solutions kit and coming home. Yes. And the chemist in me was like, I have this chemistry kit.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
It was great because Karina Barris and Joy Bernstein were the ones who did the class, because Wendy had just joined. And they were great. They were great at really making me feel empowered. I had my Modern Essential book, and I had my oils, and I felt like I could do anything. And I was looking up stuff, and I was making concoctions and blends, and all my friends are great guinea pigs. They always have been.
Yes.
Being in all of these different companies, I'd always like, try this, see how this works. And so I did the same thing with the essential oils. I was putting oils on John, my boyfriend, and he thought it was kind of weird in the beginning, but then he started seeing results, and I started using the oils to help my seasonal allergies, and they're totally gone. But it wasn't until I went on Lifelong Vitality, because I really didn't understand that an essential oil company could have good supplements. But after hearing so many testimonies, I thought, okay, I'm going to leave this other company that I wasn't making any money in anyways, and try the Lifelong Vitality. And it was probably 2 weeks that I just totally ran up the stairs to our house, skipping a stair with no pain in my knee.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I actually ran back down and did it again.
You're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. And then both of us were waking up in the morning with no pain. So it was amazing. And the sleep was another thing, because I was in that perimenopause state. And so just really starting to understand just hormones and everything. The essential oils were huge in that whole clarification of I can really do this, and I can take care of my body.
So what were the oils so here you are, you're using the Lifelong Vitality. Are you using any of the other supplements also?
Yeah, so the other big one was Slim and Sassy.
Oh.
One of the problems I had, and I'd had it for a long time, was my blood sugar would drop in between meals, before the next meal, and I would get to the point where I was shaking and I was just really lightheaded. And so then I would eat all the time, and that wasn't good for my weight, obviously. But I was actually afraid of being hungry, because of I have passed out before, and this shaking and lightheadedness. And most of my family on my mom's side, they're all diabetic. So here they're all high blood sugar, and I'm the opposite. I'm the low blood sugar person.
You're hypo, yeah.
Yeah. So Slim and Sassy, with the cinnamon in it and really helping my metabolism, I lost like 15 pounds, and my blood sugar was normalized. So now I can have 3 meals a day, and in between those meals, I'm not getting shaky. I'm not passing out. I can actually get hungry without getting lightheaded and shaky. And to this day, I still consume 15 drops of Slim and Sassy every day.
Okay. That's awesome.
This is the first podcast that someone's Slim and Sassy's been their thing. And so I know these things work, but I know there's people out there that are like, what is she talking about? Slim and Sassy and oil is going to help you not feel this way. So maybe go through a typical day before Slim and Sassy, just a standard day, how you might feel, and then maybe go through another day with Slim and Sassy, because that sounds really awesome, let me tell you. I know people for sure.
Well, pretty much my whole life, I've been the gain 20, lose 10, gain 20, lose 10. So even when I was bodybuilding, I still I still struggled with my weight and this, eating breakfast first thing in the morning. Like I wake up, I am hungry and I know I got to eat or I'm going to pass out. And yeah, so like having to fast to go get blood tests that was scary for me. Had so much anxiety if I ever had to fast because I was afraid that I would pass out. And it got to the point where I always had snacks on me. I just always had food on me, but there was this living in fear of I'm gonna get lightheaded and shaky. And once it happens, even if I eat, it still takes a while for me to get back to that homeostasis to where I feel normal again. And even in was I think 93, I was in school at San Jose State getting my master's in chemistry. I got up from studying and went into the bathroom and I was got that lightheadedness and totally passed out and went head face right onto the floor and broke my nose.
Oh no, how terrible.
So
Yeah.
gnarly.
So that it did. And it scared me because I didn't know how often this was going to happen. So now I literally get up in the morning, I have my greens drink with some lime and some lemon. And then when I do have my coffee, my Lori latte. My Lori latte is decaf. I do not need caffeine.
Yes.
Awesome.
I've way too much energy at times. But I love the taste of coffee. So I still love my coffee. But I put in a little bit of either coconut oil or ghee. So just like maybe a teaspoon. A little bit of local honey. So that's the other thing that's really helped my allergies is consuming local honey.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So just a tiny bit of local honey. So I get that in. And then 5 drops of Slim and Sassy, a drop of cardamom, and then 2 drops of either tangerine or wild orange. So I get that 5 drops of Slim and Sassy, and I'll usually have 2 to 3 cups of coffee. So if I only have 2, then I do 5 more drops and I put them either on my stomach or on my thighs because it really, Slim and Sassy has grapefruit in it. And so it really helps to get into your fat cells and pull out those toxins. And so it has really helped get rid of cellulite in a big way.
Really?
Yes.
That is what I've heard.
Yeah,
I know.
That's why, once again, we're not making claims, but it's awesome to hear these stories, right? It's not, I mean.
Yes. We're not making claims, but these are things that have worked for her.
Yeah.
So this is seriously, you guys, this is education. This is information. We're passing what has happened for her from the real person, the source that it happened to, and we are relaying that to you.
And what's cool is all of us are different, but
yeah,
in many ways we're also similar. So some of these things could work for you. Who knows?
Yeah.
We are. Yeah.
Well, and after using the oils and especially going through menopause naturally and not having any symptoms at all and being able to control my weight and be healthy, that's really where my focus went. And so I'm a women's wellness expert and I work with women over 40, helping them make sense of their body. And I use the doTERRA essential oils, the lifelong vitality. The phytoestrogen is another huge one that is a great supplement for women, whether they're going through perimenopause or they're in menopause and even beyond. I love the phytoestrogen.
Yeah.
And so it's made such a big difference. But I have to share my cardamom story.
Okay, share.
So cardamom, the emotion with cardamom is it reduces anger. And I would get irritated at just the little things that my boyfriend John would do. Like, yeah, I mean,
how dare you?
He sounds like my husband.
Yeah. So, I mean, leaving clothes on the floor and the toilet
Totally.
seat up and not closing the front. I mean, just everything he did was wrong. And so I started using cardamom to just kind of control this whole little, anger outburst that I would have. And now he can do nothing wrong.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. So this is the solution to my husband.
Yes.
He is
My
annoyed
husband?
with me all the time. You're every
No.
day, all day. He's totally annoyed with me.
No, I'm
So
not. I'm not.
how do you
I'm
use
not.
it?
I'm not.
How
I'm
should
not.
I
I'm
give it
editing
to
that
him?
out.
How
I'm
should
not.
I give him the cardamom? This
I'm
is
not. I'm not. I just
basically
totally edit
this
it
is
out. It's gonna be
amazing.
So
Are you-
back,
okay,
that was
are
all
you-
edited. So what she's wondering is how she can take cardamom so she doesn't get mad at me for dropping my
Yes.
clothes accidentally.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's good for both of you. Okay.
Yes.
So-
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So 1 to 2 drops.
Okay.
I love the taste of it, so I put it in
Me
my
too.
coffee with my soy creamer. So literally 1 to 2 drops a day. And I think taking it internally is best. But you can also put cardamom on your stomach because it's great for your digestion. It's also good for your respiratory. And I think that is another thing that has also helped my digestion. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
being a wellness coach, I talk about with all of my clients, we talk about poop. Like, how many bowel movements are you having? You know, are you floating? Is it sinking? So using the cardamom is so good for your digestive tract. And some people don't like, Digest Zen, which is a great one. But I've run into people who either don't like the smell of fennel or the peppermint or whatever. But cardamom, people like. And it just needs 1 drop. And it has that secondary benefit of just not being angry or irritated. Like, I have no road rage at all. So when people are stupid on the road now, I just kind of go, keep driving, instead of having this stupid conversation in my head of how stupid they are and how much I want to yell at them, which
they can't hear you anyways. I know.
Yeah, but you're still going through those emotions, which are physically affecting your body, because every emotion, does something to your body. So you're either uplifting or downgrading,
Totally.
yourselves. So the cardamom has I just do not get angry at all. And
That's crazy because me too. I don't even have cardamom,
and that's going in that man's coffee every
even
day.
Reach a more
Honey, what if all of a
state.
sudden you just notice that you're like,
well, this is so weird that she's
so
even saying
amazing.
something like I'm spazzing out, like not spazzing in a negative way and not using that as against anyone that is spasmatic, but from the old school days. But anyway, yeah, I'm so just zen. I mean zen.
Yeah, that's the word for him. But
I love the fact that you kind of pointed out that there's being stupid on the road, and they're stupid because that's true.
It is.
It's so true.
It is. There's just people out there that are irritating and annoying. And my friends don't even get into that conversation with me, especially if they're talking about someone else. I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
Perfect.
This is not useful information, and
Totally.
saying it's not good for you either.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
And I do not watch the news. I do not read the newspaper. So if something bad really happens, somebody tells me. But I have just gotten to the point that, I decide to fill my brain with what I want to fill my brain with.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
that totally
totally
makes
with
sense.
you.
And in case you didn't know, we're close to World War III, so that's a good thing. You know what I mean? At least we're no, but going back real quick, after your morning coffee or a couple cups, 10, 15 drops or 10, how does it, like, do you bonk at all? Or is it pretty steady until your next meal?
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, I had my eggs and spinach this morning, and I'll be good until noon or 1 o'clock. And my tummy will rumble when it's hungry, but I have no drop in my glucose. And the other thing that cinnamon is really great at is, besides keeping your glucose level, then you're not having those insulin spikes. So if you do eat and all of a sudden you have this sugar spike, you release insulin. Insulin's a fat storing hormone. And again, we're going to put on more weight. So keeping that insulin to just where it needs to be, and also obviously keeping my stress low, because releasing cortisol just, is another weight gainer right there. So I've really been able to keep my happy weight, which is
That
what
is
I'm
so
at.
awesome.
Yeah, for pretty much since I've been in doTERRA. I mean, it has been amazing. It's really been amazing to just to actually stay at this weight and not have 3 sizes of clothes in my closet.
Yeah,
That's
I
so
hear
how
you.
so how is it come January, February, March timeframe nowadays? What is your protocol?
I do the pepper, lemon, and lavender are,
Peppermint,
Pepper.
peppermint,
yeah. So
pepper or peppermint, peppermint, right? Yeah,
yeah, peppermint,
Oh yeah,
lavender, and
lemon.
lemon.
lemon, and then I use lavender every day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Me
it's
too.
it's either lavender or serenity at night. But I love putting lavender in my salad dressings. I love cooking
What?
with it. Yeah, I made some lemonade, or I'll do bubbly water and I'll add lime or lavender. So just getting the lavender in,
Mm-hmm.
especially during the seasonal time, taking it internally. I always put lemon or lime or tangerine in my water. So I
Mm-hmm.
never drink water without citrus oils.
Yes.
And yeah, and then obviously I'm getting peppermint in Slim and Sassy every
Mm-hmm.
day. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so yeah.
And so
So
headaches during that time frame?
yeah, so I don't have headaches anymore. I'll
Yes.
occasionally get like the tickle in my nose and
Mm-hmm.
maybe sneeze a couple times, but I don't have the vice grip headaches. I don't get all swollen
Mm-hmm.
and everything. And yeah, it is so wonderful just to be
Totally.
That's awesome.
breathing year round. And I have to say, using the On Guard on a regular basis, I use it every day. And
Mm-hmm.
especially when I travel, I was traveling a lot for my job when I was working in clinical trials. I was flying 40 flights a year at least. And I went 6 years of having one cold.
Wow.
So that has been
So, how are you using your On Guard?
so I put it on my solar plexus
Oh,
every morning, and then I roll it on my spine. So I use the On Guard Touch,
uh huh.
and I put it there because it gives me that energetic protection from other people's,
Mm-hmm.
bad energy, and
Mm-hmm.
especially if I'm around people. But even working online, and I talk to people all over the world when
Mm-hmm.
I'm working in clinical trials. So I just don't want their energy. So that gives me that energetic protection.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course rolling it on the spine gets it through the rest of my body. And then
Mm-hmm.
I have the On Guard soft gels if my throat ever starts to feel,
Itchy.
sore, or
Mm-hmm.
just sometimes worn out. If I'm at a conference all day or I'm out speaking or something and it's just tired, then
Mm-hmm.
I'll use that. And I'll
So
take,
the On Guard Plus or
yeah, the
the
On Guard
okay.
Plus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
And when I travel, my protocol is just to take an On Guard Plus soft gel every night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in my suitcase along with my Serenity gel caps, because I take those every night and that keeps me sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Okay.
And so sounds like you take a lot. You're using the oils a lot. How,
Hmm.
so someone that's like says, "Oh, I take an Ambien every night or a Xanax, half a Xanax, whatever they do for their sleep." We know that that stuff's not good for them. Have you seen any negative effects? Has your body been kicking back anything, or side effects of the use of any of these oils or these soft gels?
Oh, no, they're all, I call them side benefits. Yeah, because I deal with a lot of women going through menopause, having a hard time sleeping, and especially older women. I have a lot of clients that are in their 70s
Mm-hmm.
and really having a hard time sleeping. And so the combination of the lifelong vitality, and then for some people, serenity and lavender doesn't work. And
Mm-hmm.
so there are lots of other oils that that definitely still help the body relax at night. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really the combination of both, having that good gut health, because
Mm-hmm.
again, so many of our neurotransmitters, serotonin, melatonin, are made in our gut. So the
Mm-hmm.
lifelong vitality helps our gut be healthy,
Mm-hmm.
make those neurotransmitters, our brain is healthy. And then I always talk to people about their sleeping protocol. What do they do? What is their routine to going to bed each night? because that is another thing that sets that brain chemistry so you can sleep all night. And there's certain things, if their bedroom is not set up right, or they have all this blue light, or they're watching TV, or they're on their phone, or
Yeah.
if they keep their Wi-Fi on all night in their house, I mean, ours, we cut it.
Yeah, that's such a good idea.
So
So
it's
really quick, I just want to tell you really quick. So we just did a podcast with someone yesterday, and she suffered with insomnia. And just if you haven't tried this yet for your clients, she just 2 Copaíba soft gels every night, and she's able to sleep. She's been able to sleep for 6 months, not waking up. But prior, it's been, what is it, 5 years, she said? 4.5 years of insomnia. And she says, and for her, it was, the Serenity. She tried all the other stuff and it just didn't work. So that's another thing. Like you said, sometimes what works for one person doesn't work for another. And again, we're not making any claims. We're just giving you guys experiences of what has worked for other people for options for you.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty interesting because so often just living life and knowing people, it's almost as if their health and the way they take care of themselves and their protocol for, like you said, going to sleep and stuff is an afterthought. I got to eat, but I got to work. I got to do this, but really I got to do this, right? And it's not like, okay, well, I can do everything else better if I'm better, if I'm healthier, if I get a full night's sleep. And so I think it's pretty cool that, spreading, it's not just that you're saying, hey, try this oil. It's like, this is what's worked for me. Try it out. And you're also digging deep into what their protocols are. And that's huge because taking a whole entire view of the life and addressing it that way is so important, I think.
Yeah, it's never one thing, right? It's a bunch of things happening. Hey, would you do me a favor? Will you talk about what was your protocol for helping with your menopause transition? Like you said, you didn't have any side effects. Like you were able, like that's amazing. I remember my mom just being like, I was like, Jesus, what's going on, Mom?
Because I'm going through that right now. And
someday I'm going to go through that, but I just want to know, like, what did you do that supported your body so much? That's awesome.
Well, I've been writing a book, Making Sense of Your Body, over 40. So hopefully it will be out by next year. But in the meantime, I actually wrote an ebook, 12 Steps to Naturally Balancing Your Hormones. And
okay, really quick, my guess, can we post that with your podcast so people can?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. It's on my website, LoriLockyer.com. So yeah, they can have that. But so it is a combination of several things. And we look at lifestyle and we look at especially stress. So we have to look at what's happening as your hormones are declining and what you can do to support that, because you cannot keep living your normal lifestyle with your stress this high. And there are certain triggers that are going to cause hot flashes and everything. So if you understand what those triggers are, and there are certain things that are just, anxiety is going to happen because your brain has been having this talk with your ovaries since you've been in 5th grade or so. And now all of a sudden your ovaries aren't talking to your brain. And so your brain's like, my BFF is like gone. She's not talking to me anymore. And she's like, oh, what's happening? I don't understand. And so there's all this anxiety. So if you understand that's what's chemically going on in your brain, then you can go, brain,
settle down.
She's going to sleep. She's not going to be talking to you anymore. This whole feedback loop that has been happening, our whole life is not happening.
That's kind of sad.
It is.
I'm saddened by this for some reason. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's like the way you put it. I'm actually
the brain lost its best friend.
That's gnarly.
Yeah. So just knowing that's going to happen, then that's where the oils can really support.
That's awesome.
So the anti-anxiety oils, taking those on, using those during the day, having them at night, having them ready first thing in the morning. So if you wake up anxious, just knowing this is what's going on, and the oils can reduce that anxiety, and eventually it passes because the brain figures out it's not going to hear from your ovaries anymore. But then the other thing is you have to look at your food. I mean, food is such a big thing, and we spend a lot of time really making sure that your sugar's reduced, lowering your alcohol consumption, definitely lowering caffeine. There are certain things like alcohol and caffeine that are going to trigger hot flashes even more. So being aware of those. And then we bump up the Clary Calm to twice a day.
Okay.
So Clary Calm's the 9 oils that balance hormones, and you're just rubbing them really across your ovaries and then across the tummy and the other ovary, and even on the inside of your wrists, and smelling them, but definitely twice a day. And then the phytoestrogen, you really have to muscle test, because some people will go through an estrogen dominance if their progesterone drops way low before their estrogen drops. So if that's the case, we don't want to be taking more estrogen. But it's a muscle testing. So I teach people how to do the lean test, and just hold the phytoestrogen and just say, body, do you want 1? If you lean forward, that's a yes. If you lean back, it's a no. And so just kind of, playing with that. And then there's a great book called The Estrogen Window. And I highly recommend that, because it's the easiest book to really understand that there is this window of time that your body does need supplemental estrogen. We have estrogen receptors in our heart, in our brain, in our bones. And so when that estrogen starts dropping, we could have cardiac disease, we could have brain fog, we could, make ourselves susceptible to osteoporosis. So we need estrogen when that happens. And there's different forms. So there's the phytoestrogen, there's bioidentical hormones, which are great. But it's really good finding a great, OBGYN that knows how to use bioidentical hormones and understands nutrition to be able to look at that. Because again, every woman is different. So what works for me isn't going to work necessarily for someone else. But again, I use my oils. I keep my stress down, reduce the alcohol, got rid of the caffeine altogether, and use my Clary Calm every day. And for me, the bioidentical estrogen patch. So I'm on a really low, dose of that, and my estrogen levels, are good. I have no hot flashes, not gaining weight.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. So
can I ask a question really quick?
Sure.
Okay. So my, when my mom was going through this, and maybe you can just tell me like why this would happen, or maybe you don't know, I don't know. And so she was going through menopause, and I was like, oh, here, start using your Clary Calm. And then, but it started like making her have her period. And so she had stopped having her period because she had been, with her menopause. And then she's like, what is happening? Now I'm having my period again. She's like, I'm not taking that anymore. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea. But so what are your thoughts on that?
So what happens is your body is still going through, it's still cycling. So even though we're not releasing an egg, it is still going through the cycle. So if your progesterone rises, so the progesterone is the first one to drop.
Okay.
So when we start to use the oils and we start to balance it out again, our adrenal glands are making more progesterone because it wants to get it level again. When you have more progesterone, it fills the lining of your uterus with blood, thinking that you're cycling. So it just means that her body sloughed that off. It's not a bad thing. There's actually several, doctors out there that say, having an occasional period is good for your uterine lining to have that slough. So yeah, it's a pain because, we haven't had to deal with it for a while. They're like, really? I need pads. And, but it is actually a good thing. So it will happen because, she had that buildup there, but since her hormones kind of did this thing, it didn't allow it to flush out. And so the Clary Calm just balanced everything, and she did that. But yes, I have seen, that happen in women, and I just go, it's okay. It's not going to happen necessarily every month, but it's actually a good thing.
Awesome. Okay. So will that eventually not happen, or does that just mean it may okay. Yeah, it's just the process of finishing.
It was finishing. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
my husband's like, okay.
I mean,
I'm like, this is serious business. Our audience wants to know stuff like this.
I can't imagine what the brain goes through. You know what I mean? That's just like, I know dealing with my own stone brain is bad enough, but having these hormones just drill you must be crazy.
Yeah.
But
Well, and for guys, their testosterone, starts dropping.
yeah, I
And
have none
so,
anymore. I have none.
yeah.
He's lying. He's lying. He has plenty of testosterone.
I need to
Calm
take those-
down. He doesn't need to. Not yet. Thank goodness.
But
Oh my gosh.
no, I feel it. It's gnarly. I remember how I used to be and how I am now, but it's just a matter of, for me, it's just a matter of eating right and getting up and moving. Getting up and moving and not accepting. I feel like it's like, okay, so what? What if you're got to carry your kid somewhere? Get up and do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, we're going to be wrapping up here. But do you have anything else you wanted to say to the audience?
Well, the other thing I want to say, I love using the oils when it comes to my horse. So,
Oh, yes. Yes, please. Thank you.
I sent you some pictures of my Frisian horse, Zelvius. I showed him in dressage. And again, he is a big, gentle giant. But there was one time that he actually bucked me off. And I was afraid to, not so much to get back on him, but I was afraid to canter and I was afraid to go fast that he would do it again. And the peace oil really helped me to help those, just get rid of those negative feelings. But I do use the oils on him to help him. So depending on whether he has cuts, I use the what is it, Correct X on him.
Yeah, Correct X is awesome.
If he has a digestive upset, I can use Digestin. I can use Aroma Touch on all of his muscles after I ride. He loves the oils. The horses love the oils.
That's awesome.
When you're using the Digestin, are you just rubbing it on the outside of his tummy?
Yeah, and again, they're just like a human. So again, it's just one drop, one or two drops. I can just put it on his tummy. And then there was a time that I was jumping that we went over a jump. He went really high over this little jump. And I just lost my balance when we landed on the other side. And so I kind of did this back and forth and then fell off. And even though I landed on my butt, my head hit the ground. And even though I had a helmet on, my head really hurt. And it was actually 2 months after that accident I started having migraines, and I used the Intune, the Focus Blend, and the Past Tense on the back of my neck and stuff, and the migraine would go away, but I kept having them. So I went to a doctor because I could tell something was going on the side of my head, and I said, I need an MRI. And she ordered an MRI. It took a couple of weeks before I could finally get in. I started having mini strokes where I would not know how to use my computer. I'd stand in the kitchen and not know how to pour a glass of water. And then I would put more oils on and my brain would come back into function and I could think again and I would be back. But finally I went in to get the MRI and they sent me immediately to a neurosurgeon. He showed, and I had a subdural hematoma. So I had blood that was this big all the way to the side of my head between my skull and my brain. So when I fell off my horse, one blood vessel broke and it was just this slow leak and it was pushing
the pressure.
On my brain. Yeah. So that's what was causing my migraines and these mini strokes. So I was in the hospital that night, had emergency brain surgery the next morning. I had all my oils. And when I woke up in the ICU, all of my brain function was back. I could talk, I could type again, I could text. Of course, my room smelled really great because we had going and I was putting on all my oils and all the nurses came in. They're like, wow.
Nice.
But I literally left the hospital the next day and just a fully functional, had 15 staples in my head.
Oh my gosh.
And this was on a Friday and literally was back at work on Monday and I was back in the saddle in 2 weeks, back on my horse.
That's so awesome.
That is so
It's awesome
amazing.
that you were able to even combat that with the oils. The oils are like, we're trying, but you got something physical going on. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I found out using frankincense, especially, and the Intune and stuff before surgery really helped prep my body for it.
Nice.
And then I made a frankincense lavender spray that I sprayed on my staples, and my hair grew back so fast. But
What was the spray?
Frankincense and lavender.
Oh.
In coconut oil or just
in water.
in water? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't get greasy hair.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's when your skin's growing back and stuff like that, it gets dry and it gets itchy.
Yeah.
And especially when your hair is growing back. So it was that itch factor. So the peppermint really helped with that. And then the lavender just really healed. But I got my staples out in 7 days, and my hair literally was already this high in 7 days.
That is okay. And that was lemon. That was
Frankincense, lavender.
and peppermint. All three.
No, just no.
Frankincense,
Actually, I'm
lavender.
sorry. Frankincense and lavender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then I use the root to tip.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So once it got a little bit, more, then I was just putting the root to tip on to also help with the itching, because that.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Well, you saved some of the best stories to last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
That's
was awesome. That was super awesome. And again, right? So I have heard, so you can use oils on your horses, and you can use them as the same way you would use them on a human, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've
Awesome.
definitely heard of doing the aroma touch technique on horses. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wendy did that on my horse, and it was amazing because he was real cranky in the beginning, and then afterwards he's all.
Oh,
Awesome.
that is so awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're wrapping it up here. Don't forget, you have, when we're going to put our link below, you have an ebook available right now.
Yeah.
And
So
you're
12
writing-
steps to naturally balancing hormones.
Awesome. And then
Perfect.
you're writing a book. Let's look for that next year. And when
Yeah.
that comes out, we're also
We'll
gonna
add,
link it
we'll
up
add your
and
book here
definitely-
too when that comes out. And then you guys also, she is a coach, right? She works with women 45 and up, right? Going through all this. So obviously she's flipping awesome. So if you're like, I connect with her and I need her link for her to reach her for her business also is going to be posted below, because we want to connect you with someone who's going to help you out. So
Once again,
thank you, Lori. You're
thanks
so
so much.
awesome.
Thanks everybody else for tuning in. Once again, we're not making any claims.
Nope, not at all.
But if this helps you, that's awesome. Leave a comment. If you have any suggestions, let us know. If you have a story, get a hold of us.
Like, share.
Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks very much for joining us. Have a wonderful day. This is the UnAlteredE Experience.
Yes, thank you, Lori, for joining. Thank you, my friends.
Shoot.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Aloha.